Greetings, Warlords. Rodge here. Welcome to Saga Thursday, the show all about the skirmish miniatures game from Studio Tomahawk. We are joined once again by Monty. Monty, how's it going, buddy?
It's going great, Rodge. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm good. We are recording this a couple days after Adepticon here, and still recovering from that. Went for the full 4 days. In this episode, I will talk a little bit about Adepticon and kind of some things that went on there, but the main focus will be the Saga Battle Board Name Quiz. What did I call it? Battle Board Ability Name Quiz. So I've been wanting to do this for a while, and the time is finally right. Monty, are you ready for this quiz, buddy?
Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous about this because certainly I've played and looked at these many times. But before we pitch in, I should say I can be a little weak when it comes to people's names. So I'm worried if I'm going to have some battle board blindness as we play this quiz game here. We'll soon find out.
Yeah, so I got a few things to get through, then we'll jump into that. But I agree with you. I think this could be a pretty challenging quiz, but hopefully the folks at home can follow along and see if you can outdo the master himself.
Yikes.
After that, we do have the paint contest for spring of 2025 as well. So before we move on to that stuff there, we got a few things here. So as always, Monty, we got a friend of the show, and this month is Scropha Miniatures. So they have sponsored some stuff before, and they'll be providing some goodies to some Saga Thursday patrons. But first up, we should take a look at some of the stuff they got on offer. And I was talking with Luik over there, and they've been working on getting their stuff painted. So like any good STL miniature store, it's just the 3D kind of renders of everything. But he says, he's kind of a gamer, a painter, a player, so he wants to get that stuff painted. So he's been painting up some of these ancient things that he's been working on, and you can see in the photo here, they're pretty badass looking. And so they do some Persians, some Parthians, and then kind of biblical age stuff. And he said that they are working on the Hebrews for that time period.
Wow.
So he sent over some early renders on the upcoming Hebrew stuff. And then he's saying he's been playing To the Strongest lately. So I think you've played that before, Monty.
Yep. Fun game.
Yeah, and I don't know what scale you do it at, but he does it at 15 millimeter scale. Is that the standard for that? Or
I mean, I've seen it mostly in 25, and that's the big bases, right? But 15 makes sense. You could certainly do that in 15.
Yeah, so he's printed out a bunch of his stuff in 15 millimeter scale and painted it up. It looks pretty awesome, actually. Seeing these tiny little dudes like that. I don't know. It's kind of charming, kind of interesting. Makes me kind of want to dabble in that. But so as the friend of the show for April, he has offered a few goodies to the Saga Thursday patrons at the lifeguard and warlord level. And so he kind of let me choose what we wanted to offer here. And Monty, I could not resist. It's the Parthian camel cataphracts.
Nice.
What they're going to get this month. So they're going to get 4 of the 8 sculpts. So not the whole set, but just enough to give a tease. And Monty, do you think there'll be any camel cataphracts in that upcoming Age of Caesars book?
I mean, I think the chances are good. I mean, yeah. And you know what? You could find a place for them. You can use those camels in a place or two outside of there. Port them over.
I'm sure if there's horse cataphracts,
you
just use those in place.
Exactly.
I don't think there'll be any confusion. Their movement and stuff is it's not quite the same rules, but quite similar. So hopefully giving this to the patrons here will generate demand, and the authors of Age of Caesars will have no choice but to include the camel cataphracts because it's such a cool idea. So yeah, thanks to Luik and the rest of the Scropha team for stepping up here and supporting the show. Now,
Nice.
moving on, we do have another set of goodies out there, which are the Rodge original shields. So last month was the kind of Spiral and Triskel designs, and this month was something that I wish I had 5 years ago when I was starting the Heathen army, or might have been even more than 5 years ago. But so I have a Raven design on all the shields, as you know, Monty,
Yep.
and the Raven design is very similar to kind of the classic Raven design flag or pennant that you see when you look at these old Viking designs. But I could never replicate the head, or I could, but it was extremely time intensive. So I ended up just kind of doing like a triangle most of the times just to represent the beak. So I went ahead and created the kind of Viking Raven symbol for use on a shield, complete with the head. So if I had this, this is what I wanted 5 or 6 years ago for this project. So now people will have this available. And then I was thinking, should I do like Viking design shields to go along with this? And there are maybe a couple that are different than just the generic Dark Age ones I put together, but I decided to this pack is going to be all about animals, and so different animal designs. So you might use these for, might use the Raven for the Vikings, but if it's stags or something, I'm sure Vikings could probably use that too, but would be appropriate for Scots or Irish, horses, snakes, boars, and stuff like that. It's taken a little longer, but I finally figured out kind of a good way to make these, and so I'll be working on those. I probably got 5 or 6 done so far, so it'll be another set of 20 different shields, and they'll have different kind of animals. Still kind of working out some of the designs. It might be a 2-part set, so 20 in one set, and then another 20 animals in a second set, if I got enough motivation for that. We'll see, but should be cool. Another kind of stab at doing shields a little differently here, and hopefully you'll find some use for these animals. Their various armies here.
Those will be very popular, and I, for one, love the idea of the Raven for any of your Viking or Saxon, pagan type war band. So that'll be a very busy shield, very popular and busy one.
Yeah, hopefully so. So right now we got kind of a cold snap. So I do want to, I did print and test the other ones back kind of like in November. So these will be the first ones since winter to be printed out. I got printed in the garage, so just waiting for it to warm up a little bit more, and kind of test the design. So the Raven, he's kind of made up of like little lines.
Okay.
And so I did a couple where it's just like almost like an outline stamp, and then another one where it's made out of lines similar to the Raven. So I gotta test and kind of paint them and see, what level of detail is kind of appropriate for these. So 3D printers, Maker, they'll put in the tiniest details, but these are supposed to be relatively simple to paint, and these would just be designs that these folks painted on themselves. They wouldn't be overly sophisticated. So just trying to find that middle ground between good enough detail without being a huge anus in the anus
Oh my gosh.
All right, cool. All right, let's move on to Adepticon chat. So Monty, you did not get over this year, did you, buddy?
No, not this time.
Yeah, well, I did, and we played a lot of Saga, so we had a lot of fun over there at the new facility. So this was in Milwaukee, so it was a little closer for me. It was at the Baird Centers. Apparently attendance, I think, was a couple thousand folks higher than previous years. I
Wow.
think they could lift some caps off the kind of the bigger events, like the Age of Sigmar and 40K and stuff. I think those were bigger. And then they could support all kinds of random one-off games and events and little tournaments and stuff. So overall, I think it was pretty successful. So there, so there was there's a little bit more hassle of trying to get in, find parking. You're in the downtown area, trying to get around. The hotels are probably a little bit more expensive, I think, than their equivalent in Chicago. But, I think so. It was a little more hassle, a little more cost, but I think it was overall a little better though too. So it was commensurate to the additional hassle and cost. It was that much better, and
Nice.
I think for most folks, they don't mind that hassle or the additional cost that went with it. So I think overall it was a pretty big success. I think most of the people who went would agree. So we did have 4 Saga tournaments, plus a Saga Mega Battle and a Saga demo. And those latter 2 were run by DJ in the evening, and major props to him. I know after the tournaments, I was pretty much ready to die. So if he somehow, I did pop up in there and see him plugging away. So not sure how he found the energy to keep going, but I know his efforts were well rewarded. A lot of those kind of just had more casual folks showing up. So he's doing good work, getting folks interested in the game. I ran 2 of the events, as it turned out. So, Monty, I ran Age of Chivalry on Sunday. And the results for the tournaments are posted on the SAGA THORSDAY Discord, along with tons of photos. So I'm not going to show anything here, but head on over there, the Discord, and you can check out the results and the pictures and everything else. So I ended up playing as the ringer, so I was using the Germans, Monty.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was using Zach's Ordenstadt, so hopefully folks have seen those in the battle reports. And so, I just used what he had. It probably, I don't think it was ideal. It was mostly Hearthguard. 1 unit of Warriors and 1 unit of Crossbow Levy, and the rest were Hearthguard. And probably not an ideal configuration. Like, I always had one big Hearthguard unit that never seemed to get into battle in each of the 3 games. I had barding on them because the figures had barding, but I kept forgetting about it and not spending enough dice, or it's like, oh, okay, this is a triple move, not a double move to get there. Oh, I didn't factor that in when I was putting my dice down.
Right.
But I had some good games. So first game was a loss against the English to John Talby. So he's from New Zealand, if I recall correctly.
Wow.
And he actually did the Undead Faction review. You go back and look at that for Saga Age of Magic. I believe that's what he did. So I got to play somebody who I just met on video first. And the first scenario was just kind of a straight up battle. And the victory points were pretty even, but in that scenario, you're trying to use your Saga abilities. And, I was just kind of going raw Saga for most of the battle. And then at the end, I was like, oh, crap. I only used 3 of my abilities. So I just had 1 turn where I didn't really do anything, but just kind of spend all my Saga abilities. And he ended up getting some extra points because of the deficiency there, and he won the game.
Nice.
And then game 2 was against Terry. This one was pretty quick. We had fighting over 3 objectives, and we kind of had a little tussle in the middle, and it didn't go well for him. And eventually his warlord went down, so that was a win. And then the last one was playing Carl with his Burgundians, and that one was a King of the Hill type scenario, as I recall. And that one was super close as well. I thought I had him beat. Bonnie, I was defending the hill, but his warlord came screaming on there. I think almost nearly wiped out a warrior unit. But in any case, they weren't able to make him bounce. I think he knocked him down to 1 guy. So his warlord ended up staying on the hill instead of bouncing, and that was enough to win the day for that one. So overall, some good games. I like the Germans. I think they're they're pretty good.
Yep.
You don't use a lot of the abilities a lot, I would say. I don't know. It felt like a lot of stuff was situational on that board. So I ended up just kind of doing some raw Saga most of the time, it seemed like. But there's some good stuff there. I would try a different configuration for myself if I were to give them another go. But Monty, do you know who won the Age of Chivalry?
Yes, I do. That was my buddy Scott.
Yeah, so Scott Durang. He's been on the show before. I actually drove down with him. Actually, we're both TOs for the weekend, so he ended up winning with his Swiss war band. And I'm going to try to have him on, and we'll try to talk and pick his brain and see how his games went. But he was playing Swiss. Next day was Age of Magic. So that was originally going to be run by our good Adepticon friend Richard. But he has his own medical issues. And then his buddy Jake was filling in for him. And then Jake had his own medical issues. So I just ended up running it myself. But Jake was able to send along tons of 3D printed models to give away. So I think everybody walked out with some figures in addition to the normal goodies, and then he gave away like several armies of Age of Magic. I think two Age of Magic armies. So that was pretty special. For that event, I did play one game as the ringer, then it evened out. But the winner of that one was Monty. Do you know who won that one?
I do. That would be Adam.
Yeah, Adam Trunzo. So he won the KC Grand Championships before. He's won other stuff, so no surprise, a good player. Came out on top for that day. On Saturday, I finally got to play. I was running the Anglo-Danes Monty, and I was teamed up with Scott. And he was running Franks. So did you know we were doing that? I don't know if I mentioned that.
I knew you were doubles, but I had no idea what your war bands or what you were aiming for.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we thought that was a pretty good combo. So it was just based off the figures that I had. And I ended up painting a few objective markers. Monty, you know those objective markers. They were supposed to be used for our team, I think, last year.
Yeah.
The Huns and the Pagan Peoples. But they also worked for the Anglo-Danes and the Franks. Basically just dudes getting slaughtered, as an objective marker. And the plan for our games was the Franks can activate all their units essentially on just one die.
Right.
Or if you're playing a 4-point game, it's all your units within medium of your warlord.
Okay.
So, so Scott would be the muscle.
Yeah.
And then I would be kind of like the Pagan Rus player of the bunch. I'm trying to use exhaustion if I could, or intimidation to slow down the enemy. And then when I fought, it would just purely be the warlord doing all the work. The rest of the guys were all the bodies. And it worked out pretty darn well. So we may record a video on that, me and Scott, because Monty, we won all 3 of our games and we came out on top.
Woo! Nice.
All right, so I got some hardware. Just holding up the camera now. Got that Adepticon gold, baby.
Yep.
So I did keep track of the kills. So the victory points acquired by troops that were not my warlord. So basically the entire warband, but my warlord. Over the course of the 3 games, they killed 8 victory points worth of stuff. And my warlord killed 32 victory points worth of stuff over 3 games, including a couple other warlords. So it was pretty easy.
That's how you do it.
Use dice to do the fatigue shenanigans. And then basically he just charges in, and then you can use Lord of War to kind of clear the fatigues, armor yourself up.
Yep.
And the opponents in those games just didn't quite have the resources to take the warlord down when you throw them out there like that. So that was that. Now, Monty, they introduced a new thing this year for Adepticon. So for every team tournament, the top two armies, and so maybe this, if it was a larger event, there would be more, but so the top two team armies could go into the Adepticon competition, which is comparing every army, so different game systems, to see which one is the best. So judges would vote on this, players would vote on this. So this is me and Scott were put into this. We had the highest paint score, and then Dan, Neal, and Terry were put in as well. They were just behind us. They had a very nice display, warband as well. So we went to the main kind of lobby area, and then we set down our warbands, and then next to us was like a 40K Nurgle army, or an Age of Sigmar army, or like an Infinity warband. And there's probably maybe like 70 or like 100 different warbands from different game systems. And so you got to kind of compare and contrast. And so Adam Trunzo was doing it for Age of Sigmar with his buddies. That's a 4-man team. So they had a huge display. Yeah. It's like a Skaven under spires. And then above that was like sewers. And then above that was like a city. And there was lights and like little orbs with like little electricity stuff, like electronics and stuff. So they ended up taking the overall thing. But so there's a couple awards for votes. The judges picked their favorite. I think there was a difference between skirmish level and the kind of the bigger game system. And then they had 5 different judges' votes. So the judges were, these are YouTubers. I know Duncan Rhodes was one. Louise Sludgen. Not totally sure what her last name is. Elric's Hobbies. I don't know. Do you watch those, Monty?
I've heard of one of them, but I don't watch as much YouTube painters as some people.
So no disrespect to any of those folks. I don't watch them, and
that's it.
I don't really watch that much YouTube painting stuff. And then there was 2 other ones, and so each one of those got to pick their favorite warband, and it was supposed to be anonymous. You don't know which judge voted for which army or why they did it, but basically during this part they called up me and Scott. We were one of the warbands recognized, so it was cool to represent Saga in that way. So we got to go up there and then shake hands with the judges, and then our old buddy Duncan Rhodes immediately turns around. He's like, "Yeah, you guys were my vote, and just hang around. I got something for you." So after the ceremony, he chatted with us a little bit, saying what he liked about our warband. The hand-painted shields, the attention to detail on the figures. Every guy had his own color scheme. Like we painted the eyes, and all the eyes looked good. He said they were all facing the same direction. So he had comments like that. And then he gave us a paint set of 2 thin coats, Monty, wave 2. So me and Scott split up those paints. We'll give them a whirl, let you guys know. But it was cool to represent Saga in that way and actually get recognized.
That's huge. That is huge. Oh, nicely done. Nicely done, you guys.
Yeah, definitely did not expect it. I knew that like we painted our models really good, but like, these are like pretty wild display boards. Yeah. I'm pretty tame when it comes to that stuff. I just don't necessarily put in the effort. So, we were talking and we were like, well, it's probably going to be Duncan, if he like looks at our models and really likes our models, we have a chance. And that's exactly what happened. So,
that's funny.
It's kind of funny how it worked out. But so that was cool to have Saga represented. On Sunday, then was Age of Vikings and Invasions, and I got to play in that with my Yams Vikings, and I did win all 3 games, but it wasn't quite there on the extra points and stuff. So DJ came out on top with his Britons.
Nice.
So he was overall victor there, and we'll have he's agreed to come on, and we'll talk to him about his victory run with the Britons. But he was also the best painted. He had a lot of sports votes. He had the most battle points, I believe. So he came out on top in all of the categories. So
nicely done
to him. Yeah, I know he's been trying to get that place. He might have already. I think he actually already has won events with his Britons, but probably not of this size. So
right.
Mad props to him. There are definitely some skilled players there, and I'll thank my opponents of Britt, Don, and Dan. So I had a good game with Britt. At first, he was playing Carolingians, but he couldn't quite pull it. He had mounted Javelin Hearthguard Monty, so getting blasted with Northern Tempest.
Yeah,
really working out for him.
Yeah, the Witch loves that matchup.
Yeah, so
throwing the Northern Tempest from anywhere on the board. Nice play.
Yeah, but I think he played well. So he ended up just he's like, well, these guys are going to die, so I'm just going to run them over.
Yeah.
And try to trade. So he ran over and blew up my personal champion.
Wow.
And really kind of put me on the back foot. And then, and that game I started with only 6 Saga dice. And so I went down to 5. And that Warburn got pretty tough to play with just 5 Saga dice and then down to 4 Saga dice. There's no activation pool. I'd like roll these rares, but they're like, once you get one on punishment, there isn't anything else to really do with them.
Yeah, right.
That's special. So in the following game, I went to 7 Saga dice and had a little 4-pack generator in the back. So I was using personal champ, which was allowed per the pack, 6 Hearthguard, and then the rest warriors. So I had 3 units, 8 warriors, a unit of 4 warriors, 6 Hearthguard, personal champ. And that was against Don. He was using Vikings. And as it kind of turned out, there's 3 objectives. I would score the one on the left and the right. And then in the middle, we were having a little scrum going, and he popped that Ragnarok, Monty, and he cleared out every single thing I had in the middle.
Wow. The dream.
Yeah, so he wiped out the personal champ, the warlord, 6-pack of Hearthguard, 8 warriors. So basically at the end of that, he had a 1 warrior, 1 Hearthguard, his warlord, and then a 12-pack of levies sitting in his deployment zone. And then I had a unit of 4 warriors on one objective, a unit of 8 warriors on the other objective, and then a unit of 7 warriors that was kind of hanging off to one side. So I moved them up, and then he just starts blasting those levy. they were unbelievable marksmen. They just basically eliminated that unit with shooting that I had left, and then they almost took out the other unit guarding one of the objectives. So after he wiped me out of melee, he had a good run with those guys, and he said they were kind of the MVPs all his games. Pop the Ragnarok and just clean up with shooting. So he did a great job. It was slated to be a draw. The only thing keeping me alive was I was scoring 2 objective points early on, or 2 objectives early on, and then he didn't start scoring the middle till the very end.
Okay.
So objective points put me over. It was going to be a draw, but then right before we submitted the slips, I was like, did you include that extra point for me killing those shield maidens there, since they were a mercenary?
Oh, right.
And, he was like, I don't remember if I did. I'm like, well, let's just double check. And then it turned out that he hadn't. Originally, it was a difference of 2. I was 2 ahead, and then that extra point put me 3 ahead. So, he was ahead on Massacre, but the objective points got me through, and I just barely got through by the skin of my teeth.
Right.
Last game was against Dan. He was running the Goths, and he had a lot of cavalry. Another more juicy victims than the Tempest, Monty. And I would say by this one, we were both pretty tired, I would say. And there was a lot of raw saga going on. And, we just smashed 2 units together, and I would end up rolling a lot better than Dan did in those early ones. And so I'm kind of turned against them pretty quickly. So that's just a quick summary of my games. The Yams Vikings were pretty fun.
Yeah.
I just end up returning them. I've used the Heathens for like every possible configuration. So I'm kind of going back to square one, and we'll be going through using them as different war bands each time. So that is that. Before we move on to the quiz game, Monty, we had a ton of sponsorship this year, so I do want to recognize those sponsors. So between the medals, the prizes, and extra stuff, I think in every tournament, every participant walked away with something at the end of the game. You know, a box set or blisters, or a gift certificate, or the actual like medal for getting a prize. But so DJ was spearheading those efforts. So he was the one who reached out to Gripping Beast, got them to send a bunch of goodies. He reached out to Wargames Atlantic, and they also sent out a bunch of goodies.
Very nice.
He reached out to Fireland Games, which is a retailer kind of based in Ohio, I believe, maybe Indiana. But the good thing about them is they split up the Victrix and, well, not just Victrix, but any plastics into sprues. Okay. So you can buy like one sprue of Gripping Beast Dark Age Archers.
Okay.
And one sprue of the, Victrix Elephant Crew is what I bought from him. So you can just buy the crew or the elephant. So he splits up the sprues like that. So you can get exactly what you need. And the other sponsors were Badger Games. Monty, have you ordered from Badger Games?
I love Badger. They're my go-to these days.
Yeah, so they've got all the Saga supply.
Yep.
And they've got everything in stock. Usually, if it's available, that they'll have it. And they've got a ton of other manufacturers as well. And then Old Guard Games was a sponsor. So that is a hobby shop located in Milwaukee. And it was probably three or 4 miles from the venue, 10 to 15-minute ride. There was a shuttle going back and forth. And this is kind of related to Badger Games. So it's owned by the same person or persons. And they have the same stock, but it's just a wild hobby shop where, the guy running it may or may not be making a profit with all the extra stuff included. But so, yeah, the winners got gift certificates from Old Guard Games. And Monty, big announcement here. I am running All Father's Day at Old Guard Games on June 21st, 2025.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so the All Fathers is back. This is the weekend after Father's Day.
Yep.
So maybe that's better for some. This one is going to be an Age of Melee event. So we're going to, but it's going to be like AD, Age of Melee. So invasions, Vikings, Crusaders, and Chivalry.
Oh, excellent.
So, there's apparently there's players in Milwaukee, kind of newer players. So kind of having Vikings available is important. But then, how many Age of Vikings events have you played in, Monty, in your life?
A few.
A few. Yeah. So for the veterans, to be able to bring your other stuff as well is kind of important. So
that's awesome.
The details for that will be in the link below. It's going to be $15, but it includes lunch, and then they're going to give away a bunch of prizes and stuff. I'm working with them on that. So, we're doing this in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So if you're just in Milwaukee for Adepticon, come on back.
Yeah.
We'll play some more Saga on June 21st. Monty, I was happy to hear the Bolt Action event scheduled for June 21st fell through, according to Scott. So I'll look forward to seeing you at All Fathers, hopefully. But yeah, that should be fun. Okay.
Awesome.
Now let's get to the meat and potatoes here. This episode here, which is the Battle Board Ability Name Quiz. So, this is purely the names.
Okay.
So, folks will know I'm working on Age of Magic Volume 2, and so I have to come up with ability names. So I went through and cataloged every single battle board ability name that's been used so far, because I did not want to duplicate any of the names myself, right?
Right.
Now, between supplements and stuff, I think it's perfectly fine if abilities do have the same name. And there are quite a number of duplicates out there. So a lot of the crooks or focus of this quiz will be kind of on these duplicate abilities, or they might make it easier. I guess we'll see as we go here. But so I just had a big list of every Saga ability, and I was kind of going through that, mining it for potential questions for you, Monty. And folks can follow along at home. There's going to be 25 questions.
Oh no!
Each one has basically, if you get it right, you'll get 1 point, so you can get up to 25 points. Each question has multiple correct answers, though. Okay, so you'll have more than one chance, usually on the vast majority of these, to get it right. And we'll see what I mean by that shortly. But before we get into that, I thought it was interesting. So you kind of talked about, like actually remembering the names of these.
Right.
And people have probably heard me say, like in faction reviews and stuff, like that ability on the upper left,
yes,
that ability on the lower right.
Yep.
So I'm curious, I kind of remember them like spatially more than the names necessarily. Now, the weird thing is, like you say that the name of the ability, like every time you play it,
yep,
the 99% of the time you say, I'm going to pop Implacable, or I'm going to pop, I can't even think of another name, right? Combat bonus.
Right.
So it's weird. You say it during the game, like, you've said these abilities hundreds of times, but for some reason, I personally kind of spatially kind of remember them more than the actual names. Are you kind of like that, Monty?
100%. That's why I'm kind of worried about this quiz. Also, Raj, I tend to like, like a lot of players, I think like you have a favorite, and maybe your favorite is your favorite for a season, and then you wander off to the next one. But yeah, like if you asked me to name all the abilities on, say, one of my favorites, the Saxon board, I could do a better job of saying, rather than the name, I could say, so in the bottom right corner is a 2 dice ability that will activate 1 or 2 figures for a charge, and it'll be fatigue free if I use a rare.
Yes.
So I remember all of that. But
and
now it came to me as Storm Breaks, but I remember the position and the details better than the name.
Yeah. So that could be like an alternate, and in the future, that's like another quiz, on the abilities themselves. It's just, I put together this thing on the names, and so that's why this is based on the names. But
sure,
yeah, I agree with you. You could probably remember exactly the rules, what is doing for your boys. And then the dice thing is interesting too. You probably remember the dice, its position, the facing,
right?
Whether it's orders, melee, what it does, like literally everything but the name. You probably remember better than that. But let's jump to it then. I'm just gonna get my paper here ready. I'm gonna put a little hash mark every time you get one of these right.
I'm a little worried we'll be in the single digit here, but yep, I said I would be a good sport, and let's see how badly it goes.
Okay, so yeah, if you're listening, follow along at home, see if you can beat the master of Saga here.
Or alternately, stump the chump.
Stump the chump. Okay, so the first 10, 11 here, these are fill in the blanks. Okay, so I'm going to say part of the ability, and then you're going to fill in the blank. But there's going to be multiple options to fill in the blank, as we'll see. This will make sense after the first one. But
Okay.
Let's go. So the first one here is fill in the blank. Okay, it's Lord of blank.
Lord of War?
Bing, 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 bing.
Oh my gosh, thank goodness, because that's the Anglo-Dane one, right?
Yep, that's
Okay.
Anglo-Danes.
And thankfully I remembered that one, number one, because it's just such a rock solid. Like you essentially you use that ability to finish in a top spot and crush people. So yeah,
That's
that
right.
helps.
All
Okay,
right.
I won. I feel confident. I got one, so at least it won't be skunk.
Yeah, here we go. So I also would have accepted Lord of the East, which is from the Eastern Princes battle board. Okay. Now, yeah, so if you get one of those right, you get a point. If at home you want to follow along, if you get like both of them right, then you could give yourself just a bonus point on the side and say, I got 12 points, but I did get like 5 bonus points or something like that. So we'll keep track of those as well. But all right, number 2, Masters of the blank.
Ooh.
And a little bit of a clue here. I am including Age of Magic battle board abilities in this.
Oh my gosh, that should really help me. Why is it not? Under Earth?
That is the name of a faction from
No, it's the faction,
the
but
Age
yeah,
of
that's
Magic.
not it. Okay, so Masters
but
of
we're concentrate on
yeah.
the battle board abilities.
Yep.
We'll just give yourself
Masters
3 or
of
5
the-
seconds.
Yeah, I can't get
Yeah.
this one. I'm stuck on this one. Sorry.
Okay.
Wah wah.
So it's Masters of the Field. That is Pix.
Oh man, I play Pix. I used to play Pix a lot.
Yeah.
Masters of the Field.
And then Masters of the Tombs
Oh,
is the
okay, that
Undead
makes
Legions.
sense. Yeah, I never played I played against them. I never played the board myself. Interesting. Okay. So yep, that's fine.
Right. Okay. Next up, Moment of blank.
Oh God. Oh my just the bleeding continues. Moment of doubt?
Ding 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 ding.
Oh,
correct.
Thank God. Oh, I
Franks.
doubted that I could answer these.
The other one was Moment of Truth.
Moment of truth. Okay,
Irish.
that makes sense. Okay. Moment of doubt, moment of truth. Interesting. Okay.
Okay. Next up, Pride of the blank.
Okay, I think there's one, and I'm going to slaughter the pronunciation because it's Greek. Or, is it Pride of the... Oh, come on, Monty. Diadochi? Diadochi?
Bing, 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 bing. Yeah, so I've heard Diadochi and I've heard Diadoki.
That sounds right. I think, yeah. I think those are closer. It's one of those words I read, and out in the common world, Rodge, believe it or not, no one uses that in everyday language. The grocery store, Home Depot, I just never hear it. So
yeah,
that's my excuse.
Okay, so the other one was Pride of the Companions.
Oh,
so
then
Pride of the
you get the
Companions
Macedonians.
is Macedonians. Diadochi is a successor board.
Okay. Interesting.
Next one here. Scourge of the blank.
Is it East? One of them? Scourge of the East? I'm thinking of okay, yeah, I'm done. Okay, I was thinking
there's Wrath of the East.
Wrath of the East.
The Pagan Rus.
Okay.
So correct answers, Monty, were Scourge of the Infidels from the Saracens board.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty uncommon.
Yeah.
But the other one, Scourge of the Steppes for the Mongols.
Oh, see, I was reaching for the steppe tribes, but I didn't get steppes. East instead of steppes.
You knew the word scourge, kind of associated with Eastern peoples in a borderline racist way.
I mean, it's exactly.
You got it. Okay. Next up, combined blank.
Oh, I want to try to get the bonus this time.
And there's three. There's three for this one, possibly. So it should be easier, though.
Right. I'm going to reach for the one that's right there on the tip of my tongue. So I think Oh my gosh, I hope this is right and I'm not just dreaming it. Combined arms?
Bing, 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 bing.
Okay, combined. Son of a gun. So 2 more. I'm out. I can't think of it.
Right. We have combined formation for the
Oh,
Romans.
yes.
And combined tactics for the Carthaginians.
Wow. Why do that almost that's almost a blank, and I certainly have played the Carthaginians a few times. Interesting.
Okay. The next one, Monty, has 4 possible answers.
Wow.
Sacred blank.
Oh, 4. Sacred ground? Probably
Are you sure
wrong
about
there.
that?
Yeah, well, I was going to say sacred band, but I don't know that there is
Ding,
a
ding, ding,
sacred
ding,
band.
ding, ding.
Okay. So there's one, and I can't think of the other 2. I really should be able to spot them, but
Okay, sacred band, Carthaginians.
Yep.
That's an ability. Sacred bonds is from Skraeling's board, so you might not have.
Yeah, I don't know hardly beep
There
about that.
Sacred dance from Lords of the Wild.
Oh wow, okay.
Now this last one, really think you should have gotten, Monty. Sacred tattoos.
Oh
for
yes,
the
I should have gotten that one. Although it's so expensive, you never use it.
Well,
anyway, but it's there. Sacred tattoos.
There.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's do a little easy one to get your.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of spiraling here.
Get yourself back up here. This one just says 2 sons of blank.
Dana would be 1.
Yes.
Sons of. I was going to cheekily say bees, but I won't say that. Sons of Homer.
Oh, first bonus point for mine
yes,
here.
Finally. Woohoo.
All right. Confidence is back.
Soon
Got
to sink.
kind of 2 more like this. So this next one has 3 possible. It's like blank.
Like
something.
Gosh, I know I have 5 seconds for I can't, I'm completely blanked on that one. Sorry.
Right. We'll start in the least obvious one, maybe like shadows
for
Iberians.
Oh, yeah. Dang it.
A little more popular, like rocks for Anglo-Danes.
Yeah.
And you're really going to be kicking yourself in the tuchus for this one, Monty. Like jeans for the Mutts board.
Dang it. Yes, I love that ability. Like jeans. Dang it. Okay. That just threw me, just like by itself. I'm like, what the hell?
What?
No.
Yeah.
Weird. Okay, well, confidence broken. Keep going.
All right. The next one has 5 different acceptable answers here. Or 4 or 5. It's wall of blank.
Oh, man. Steel?
Bing, bing, bing.
Okay, but what about some of the other bonus ones? Wall of shields? Oh, okay. Dang it.
Now,
okay.
shield wall is on 2 boards, I believe.
But I have it backwards, so.
Yeah. So we have wall of arrows for the English.
Yes.
We have wall of pikes for both the Swiss and the Greculi.
Yeah. Dang it.
And lastly, wall of spears for the Scots.
Okay, that's a really good ability.
Those.
Yeah. Nice.
Okay. So, the last one, kind of like this. This is kind of a one-off thing here.
Okay.
That I thought was amusing. And okay, so Monty, the Scots have an ability called long spears.
Right.
Another board has an ability called longer blank.
Longer. Gosh. So here, dude, I'm having a problem because historical knowledge is blending with this game. So I want to say you have long spears, longer sarissas.
Yeah. Bing, bing, bing.
Oh, thank gosh I pulled that one out of the hat. I was going to say pike, but then I'm like, wait, no, it's not pike. It's Sarissa's.
Yeah. So I don't know why. Those two are like right next to each other on the little sheet there. So it says long spears and then longer Sarissas. You know, you can imagine somebody popping long spears. You're like, oh yeah, I'm popping longer Sarissas.
That's perfect.
Okay. Now the next one, Monty, I'm going to give you the name of the ability, and you have to guess a faction that has that ability.
Okay.
And this one has more than one answer as well. I think each of these has three possible answers.
No
so
pressure.
You should be able to get
should
one of them. All right. The ability is ambush. What is a board that has ambush as an ability?
So I believe the picks have it.
Bing, 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 bing.
I think. Oh gosh, come on, Monty. I think the Iberians have it.
Bing, 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 bing.
And by chance, do the Irish have it?
The Irish do not.
Okay.
You're confusing them with the Lords of the Wild.
Okay. There we go.
Shooting from the trees.
Yeah, that's nasty.
Similar.
That's a good ability.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, so those three have it. I will say one of them is just ambush. And then on two of them, it's ambush with an exclamation point.
So it's more exciting.
Yeah. Okay, next up, retreat. Which faction has retreat on the board?
Retreat. Gosh. The Germans.
Bing, 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 bing.
Oh, nice. Whew. Thank goodness.
Bonus points?
Retreat would the gosh, it isn't clear, but I'm going to just make a educated guess. Iberians? Okay.
Would have accepted Normans.
Oh, right.
Lords of the Wild again.
Yeah.
Around.
Oh, that's right. That's pretty clever. Okay.
Next up, I'll be surprised if you get this one.
Ruh-roh.
Inspiration.
Come on. I'm gonna say Macedonian. Yeah, dang it.
We got Greek cities, Moors, and the Great Kingdoms from Age of Magic.
Yeah, the Age of Magic boards have gotten a little bit, they've kind of haven't played them in a while, so I'm really struggling on those. But yeah, that's right. Inspiration is on the Moors.
I don't think they're common. I can't remember what any of them do.
Right.
This next one, I think you should be good. Brothers in Arms.
Okay. Oh man. Okay, I recognize it. Yeah. But who does Brothers in Arms? Normans?
You sure about that?
No, I'm not, because you just said no, and I don't have a lifeline. I can't call a friend. I just can't remember, dude.
It's the English from Age of Chivalry and the Scottish from Age of Chivalry.
Okay,
They're both Brothers in Arms.
That's
I was
fair.
thinking the Scottish. I think one of the last times we played Scottish.
Yeah.
The other one is Eastern Princes. I believe that's the one that gives you a boatload of defense dice.
That one I should remember, because I love the idea of a big 12-pack of warriors getting all sorts of defensive dice.
There you go. All right. Next up, Shield Bearers.
Well, I feel like I'm in a death spiral now. Shield Bearers, I gotta be quick. Could it be the Greek cities, states? No, it could not. Wow, jeez.
Sorry, Monty. It's the Persians. Scottish again. And the Polish Shield Bearers.
Okay.
Now, on two of those is Shield Bearers as one word. And on one of them is Shield Space Bearers.
Okay.
So, okay. Monty, the next four.
Oh, dear God.
I am going to ask you. Well, I'm just going to get into it. Monty, name a battleboard ability that starts with a J.
Oh my gosh. This is just this is pretty cruel. I got nothing. I'm just drawing a blank. I was thinking I was trying to find something for the mutts, and I can't
Let me
figure it out.
I'm going to give you a clue. Okay. 2 of them actually start with a J sound. J. 3 of these, I would say, are actually pronounced with like a Y sound. That's a clue.
A Y sound.
Or an H. I don't know. You shouldn't. Nobody should come to me to tell us on how to pronounce these words.
No.
So it's not. They're not the typical J sound.
No.
So that's all I can say.
Oh man, and I'm just all over the map, and I'm under pressure, and I can't. I'm completely drawing a blank. So I didn't prepare. This isn't Jeopardy, and yeah, I got.
No worries. All right. So first up, Jeers.
Oh right,
Saxon board.
That's so yeah. Well, so little used, but still, there it sits with a J.
Jericho.
Okay.
I believe that's Crusaders.
Okay.
The one that these next 2, I thought maybe you would get them. Yahanam. That's them. I think that's the Mutts.
Yeah, that's the one I was trying to think of. I just couldn't pull it out.
It might be Saracen. Yenites.
Yes, that's right.
Ginites?
That's right. That's the
Hinites.
Yep, Hinites for the Spanish. Nice.
Okay, and then the last one, Yamsborg with an exclamation point.
Right.
Okay. Well, you thought that was hard, Monty. These next 3 are
dude, you're killing me. At 25 questions, you said I'd have a few. This is like a full-blown
you got
SAT
10
test.
You got 10 so far.
And you know what? I'm going to have to come home and tell my mom, I'm not going to college. I failed the SAGA quiz.
No, she'll be posting this on the refrigerator.
And telling me I'm special.
Okay. So there's 5 possible answers for that one. The next 3 have only a single answer.
Okay.
Name a battleboard ability that starts with a Q.
Q. A Q. An ability that starts with a Q. Starts with a Q. Because, see, I'm getting Quiver, and I'm thinking of the Eastern steppe tribes. Quiver.
Is there?
Yeah, I don't know. I got nothing. I'm gonna fail on that one. So what starts with a Q?
Quincunx. Quincunx.
Oh, see, Latin. Damn it. Latin. Why didn't I not? I mean, and that's off the Roman board, but now that you've said it, because if there's Latin, it probably is a Roman board. Yeah. Okay, that's a good one. Yeah, I think that's a good ability, although now I have to look at the board and remember.
Quincunx.
Yeah.
Isn't that the one that like moves 2 units?
Exactly, which I love. That's a bargain.
But little Age of Magic, Volume 2 tidbit, Monty. There's going to be an ability called Quick Thinking. So there will be 2 with a Q.
Be forbidden from using it.
Okay. Monty, name the battle board ability that starts with an X.
Oh, I know this. Ziston.
Yep.
There we go. Ta-da!
You know the board.
Oh, that would be the Macedonians.
Yeah, Macedonians. Bing, 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 bing. All right. You might be able to guess the last one, Monty. What is the ability that starts with a Z?
With a Z. With a Z. Yeah, I got nothing. Sorry, my time's up. I know I got to be fast. And
Zealous Works.
Okay, that's good.
Board.
Zealous.
I didn't
yeah. No, that's good. That's good. Ordenstadt. Good one. That's tricky. Okay. Yeah, those are stumpers. You know what? When you're done, somewhere in your life, you could become a school teacher.
I'm sure. All right. So we just got 5 more to go, Monty.
Oh no, 5! I thought that was the end. Okay, keep going. Here we go.
Okay.
Ready.
So it's four. There's going to be four kind of questions related. But the last question is, what is the theme of the four questions that I'm going to ask next? Okay. I'm confident you'll be able to figure it out. But okay, so first one up here. Who has a battle board ability called Determination?
Gosh. Determination. Oh, come on. Would that be Carthaginians? Yeah. Wah wah.
They do have an ability called Coordination. Which is probably what you're thinking of. Okay, so the answer there was Anglo-Danes have Determination. That gives them extra defense dice and stuff. I think it's pretty good.
Yep.
And the other one is Norsgales, is the one that they use. If they win the melee, they can't be charged.
That's so enemy. Good. Yeah.
That's very tasty.
Determination, weird. Okay. Yep.
Okay. Next up, who has an ability called Closed Ranks?
Closed ranks. Oh, come on. God, I am just
These
whiffing.
Are pretty hard, I would
yeah,
say.
No, I'm just whiffing. Closed ranks. Let's say the Greek city-states.
Yeah. Anglo-Saxons.
God. Okay.
All right. We're into the final three here. Who has an ability called Charge?
I mean, it says what it is. Let's say, it's not the Vikings. I don't think it's Age of Vikings. My God, I got to be quick. I don't think this is right, but I'm going to just say Saxons. Yeah, I'm just drawing a
Normans.
blank. Okay.
I believe this is the one that gives you some attack dice, but an extra one if you take a fatigue.
Yeah, which is the devil's bargain. That's why I can't remember it.
Okay, second to last one here. Imposing Presence. Who has this ability?
Imposing Presence. Oh my gosh. I'm going to say that's not it. Is it Saracens?
Correct, my friend. Macedonians.
Wow.
I did not think you'd be.
Nope.
Okay. Now, Monty, what was like the theme of the last four questions that I just gave you?
I would say the theme was to stump me, and the theme was very successful. I got none. Okay, so there was charging. I have no idea.
Okay. Imposing Presence is kind of cheeky, but I would say the theme is these are abilities that need their name changed because they're named after rules in the game already. Okay, so Determination shouldn't be a battle board ability because it's already a special rule, so it's confusing. Close ranks, you close ranks separately, so having an ability called Close Ranks, IMO, doesn't make sense. Same thing with Charge. You declare a charge activation, then you have like a charge ability.
Yep.
Imposing Presence is probably fine.
Right.
But there's Imposing, and then there's Presence, and those are two special rules on their own in the Age of Magic. So, Monty, you've got 11 out of 25 plus one bonus or 2 bonus points.
Do you know back in the days when I went to school, less than 50% was an F?
Well, we'll see. Might be the curve here. So anybody who gets 11 right, you can consider yourself an A plus, 100%. And if you get over that, 110%. We're beating Monty here. So
nice.
Hopefully that was pretty fun. So going through the abilities and stuff, I did see a couple interesting Easter eggs, I would say. So just between the ages here, so maybe they were intentional, maybe they weren't, but I picked up on 2. So the Franks have an ability called Vigor and Ardor. And the Carolingians, which is what the Franks turn into, also have an ability called Ardor as well. So
Okay.
I thought maybe that was intentional, like as a callback. Now, the Carolingian board was first, and then the Frank board came. So they may have saw Ardor and then called it back with the Franks board. But maybe the Carolingians had Vigor Monty, and then they lost it, and all they had was Ardor after that. The Vigor was on the German half of the Charlemagne's Empire. I don't know. And then another one that I saw was for the Spanish. They have lances and javelins. And then the Castilians have an ability called Lancers with Javelins. So that's
interesting.
kind of a callback.
Yeah.
And then I will say this is kind of a separate topic, getting about battle board abilities, but the Hinates ability, as it was fact, allows you to activate 2 units. I think they maybe gain determination or they remove a fatigue or something. And then the Castilians have an ability that lets you activate 2 units and like remove a fatigue or something like that. So I kind of think that might be like an intentional callback to their prior version. So I think thought that was kind of neat.
That is very clever.
Now the last part here. So game's over, but I asked you to pick out some of your favorite battle board ability names.
Right.
And were you able to come up with some? So this is whatever random criteria. And for me, it's usually because I just like saying it in a stupid voice.
Right.
So what are some of your favorite names for abilities?
Right. So I went and grabbed just a couple out, and I like them for a couple reasons. Sometimes I like them because the name of the ability and then the ability itself like fits so nicely, or the ability is kind of amazing. So like you said, when you say it out loud, your opponent trembles or at least goes, uh-oh. So one of them is the one that we had kind of mentioned way back when, and that is the Storm Breaks for the Saxons. It's a really good ability, and like the descriptor is pretty vivid. It paints a picture in my mind. And then along the same lines, because I really like, the, 2 warbands really going at it, hammer and tong in Saga. So another one is Howling Axes, like the idea that these Dane axes, not only do I have Dane axes, but they're howling, and it would be horrible and hideous and terrible. And that describes probably fighting the Norse Gale when you get into hand-to-hand. So I love Howling Axes for an ability name. Cool. And then I snuck one more in here. This one, I picked it in here for just kind of an oddball reason. It seems like with the show Vikings, I noticed like when I rewatched it recently, like when they show formed up troops, the archers all stand and they have their bows drawn, but they don't know what to do. So they all have to wait around. Their arms are getting exhausted until someone yells "loose," and then they pull their next bow, and then no one shoots. They're not like in a try to get off a lot of shots. They all just stand there and they have to wait for them and yell "loose" again. And so I picked. It's
loose. Always flaming arrows too.
It's always flaming. So you can clearly see
extra
what's
damage.
going on. So the English have one called "loose," and then you could like the TV shows, the many TV shows that do that trick. You could say that yourself.
Awesome.
So that was just a few.
Okay, I've got a few here. So I like Dark Crosses, Pure Hearts.
That is good.
It's from the Ordenstadt board. That sounds like something characters would say over and over in a George R. Martin novel.
Yep.
The next 2 are kind of similar. I just like saying them, but they're both chivalry ones. For the Germans, we have Hard Men and Bold.
Yes.
And then the Lancastrian boards, this is the one ability that was swapped in, is Hard Men, Hard Blows. Just like Hard Men, Monty, I guess. I hope nobody takes that out of context.
Oh no, I need a drink of water now.
All right. On the Mongol board, I like Hell for Leather. And
yes,
I actually researched that. That is a British military slang that relates to horses. So I thought it had something to do with like bikers or something, but it is a military term. But I think a couple centuries after the Mongols, I think.
Interesting.
I like clenched fists for the Norse Gales, Monty, but only because I like saying clenched buttocks instead every time they play it.
Wow.
We've got for the Welsh, this one, I just like saying when I was playing the Welsh, I would always go, one land, one king. Just
That
like
is
saying
good. Everyone loves that, especially with the accent.
that. The Swiss, send them packing. Just a gold there, just a gold name for an ability.
Yep.
And then the Horde, the power of steel. Makes me think of Man of War. And then lastly, with the Germans, Verboten. So two abilities I like on the Germans, but wish that one was a little tastier so I could say it more often during my games. I barely got to tell anybody
Verboten. I like Adepticon.
It. So that is it for my battle board ability name quiz and analysis and fun. And so I hope that was interesting and entertaining. And I'm curious to see how folks do. Definitely post below what your score was. So we're closing in on the end here, but we do have a little bit more to go. And that is the paint contest, Monty.
Nice.
So the theme of this one, it was inspired by Adepticon. And it's actually the folks who stepped up to support Adepticon. So the theme for this one is a unit of troops, but it has to be Gripping Beast or Wargames Atlantic figures. So any era, any age, 1 point of troops, but they have to be Gripping Beast or Wargames Atlantic figures for this contest. So they stepped up to support Adepticon. So we're going to do this contest in their honor as a thank you. So
nice.
I'm going to put up my little thumbs up or thumbs down. So take a picture in front of the screen with your models beforehand. Monty, we just got the still image, so no worries from you there. So you're going to post a before picture, and then you'll paint them up, and you'll post them when they're done on the SAGA Thursday Discord. The rules are below in the text. It's going to go through April 27th is when we are going to call it on this one. So, so one random person who is submits their stuff will get a prize from Gripping Beast, 25-pound gift certificate, and then Monty and I will pick our favorite, and by whatever criteria we deem fit, just looks good, and they will get the coveted Thirsty Thursday pint glass. So that is basically how that works. Any questions, see below in the comment description, but essentially got to get on the Discord and post in the paint contest section. And that's about it. So before we say goodbye, click through these darn things here. I do want to say thank you to all the SAGA Thursday patrons out there. Sean, Patrick, Mitchell, Scott, Frank, Britt, DJ, Robin, Damien, and the rest of the SAGA Thursday patrons. Wouldn't be doing all these videos without you. I got to say thank you to Monty for once again recording with us. And yeah, definitely comment below and let us know how you did on the quiz. If you thought it was easy or difficult, if there's a way that, do you actually remember the names of them all, or spatially oriented like me and Monty here? So
that's my excuse, and I'm sticking with it.
Definitely. All right. Well, I think we've had enough fun for one day. We'll catch you folks later.
Yeah. Right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. SAGA! If you'd like to see more SAGA content, consider joining the Heathen Army over on Patreon or popping on down to the SAGA Thursday Discord server. Links below. Thanks, guys.